I recently got a DM from this girl. Let's just call her Aisha for the sake of convenience, and also because I think Aisha is a very sexy name. And Aisha told me, hey, I saw on your YouTube you started at Goldman in trading and then moved to investment banking. How were you able to switch? Did you have a specific reason or strategy in terms of product and desk for switching? Many thanks. Now, I have to be very honest with you. When I first got this message, I was filled with this bittersweet feeling. Sweet because there are very few things that give me a greater sense of purpose than helping people like her. People who are young, ambitious, and people who take their personal and/or professional development very seriously. Bitter because the rare occasion when a woman slides into my DMs, she does so seeking career advice from me of all the things that she could be seeking from me. But then the naive optimist in me kicked in and I thought maybe, just maybe, answering her question might be the gateway to her heart. And hopefully the gateway to all of your hearts as well, because she's not the only one who stands to benefit from everything that I'm going to be sharing in this video. Now, the move from S&T to IB is very uncommon, especially if you don't have any prior IB internship experience under your belt. So this video isn't just for the few of you who might be looking to make a move from trading to banking, but this video caters to anyone looking to make a lateral move from trading to banking, anyone trying to break into banking in general, and anyone trying to break into any competitive role, finance and otherwise, who might be wondering, how the fuck do I leverage smart and strategic storytelling to maximize my chances of breaking into the competitive role that I'm gunning for? For those of you who are new to my channel, or those of you who knew me once upon a time but have forgotten me because it's been ages since I've shown my pretty face on this channel, pretty only according to my mother. My name is Anubhav Jain and I started out in the securities division at Goldman Sachs. Securities just being fancy speak for sales and trading. After which I moved into Goldman's coveted investment banking division. So if you're new here and you're thinking, oh, this channel is about banking and finance, or if you're familiar with my channel and thinking, oh my god, here he is fucking talking about banking and finance again. Nope. This channel going forward is about storytelling, self-expression, communication skills, soft skills, and how you can be the absolute best version of your personal and professional self. And all of this delivered based upon real life experiences, or Anubhav ke Anubhav. And today's video touches upon all of the aspects that I just mentioned, but especially on the storytelling and effective communication aspects, delivered through the lens of my move from S&T to IBD at Goldman Sachs. Speaking of storytelling, you've probably heard the line, sell the sizzle, not the steak. Another way of looking at this in the context of jobs and interviews is sell the story, not just the technical skills. And this maxim applies especially to Indians because my beautiful fellow Indians are just obsessed with degrees and technical skills. Yes, these are important, but in my opinion, not half as important as your soft skills, your storytelling skills, your communication skills, especially when you're working in front office, client-facing roles. Look, there's a reason investment banking is called monkey business, because even a monkey can be taught the technical stuff like Excel and PowerPoint, but not everyone can be taught the skill that truly matters in fields such as investment banking and consulting, which are relationship skills. How do I woo a client? How do I court a client? How do I develop a relationship with that client over time? In a nutshell, it's not about the fancy degrees and technical skills and certifications that you've hoarded. It's about how you can combine everything that you've got working for you and create a story out of it that's compelling and convincing. The same set of ingredients can be mixed together in a smart manner by someone that makes for an orgasmic meal, while someone else makes an absolute meal out of those ingredients and sounds as convincing with the story as Amber Heard was when she was on the witness stand. Now, how can I say this not just confidently but with credibility as well? Because after all, fake confidence without credibility to India ke do favorite armchair philosophers ke paas bhi hai. Because whatever conquests I've enjoyed in the past as it pertains to my career moves, be it interning with the likes of Cisco, PwC and Deutsche Bank during my time in college, securing a full-time offer from Goldman Sales and Trading Division, coming from a non-target school with an engineering degree, then moving from Goldman Sales and Trading Division to the investment banking division, and then making a drastic pivot from Goldman Sachs, from the world of finance, investment banking, to becoming a sports presenter. All of these, at the heart of it, have entailed the art of rhetoric or good storytelling. Now that you see some merit in what I'm trying to say, or so I hope, let's talk talk about the specifics of my move from Goldman's sales and trading division to the investment banking division, and what are some of the universal lessons that we can all extract from this. In the sales and trading division, I was on the equity derivatives structuring desk, which was a very technical role. And about 1 year into my role, I realized that the role played to my strengths, but not quite my full potential. And I say that because I strongly felt that in addition to all the technical skills that I had a lot to offer in terms of my people skills and my advisory instincts. Skills that my role within S&T wasn't quite leveraging fully, but elements that are absolutely essential in investment banking, because at a fundamental level, investment banking boils down to nothing but a relationship business. Do you actually think a client picks Goldman Sachs as its advisor because Goldman Sachs builds better financial models compared to a JP Morgan or a Morgan Stanley? Absolutely not. A client ends up picking Goldman Sachs because the client has a much better relationship with Goldman Sachs or the partners at Goldman Sachs. Anyway, so I started drawing parallels between my current role in S&T and what bankers do. Why? Because I knew that doing this exercise would hold me in good stead during my interviews as well as in my resume. I was doing deals in my current role as well. These were just different kinds of deals that entailed the issuance of structured notes. I was working with clients in my current role as well. The nature of the clients may have been different. I analyzed and structured complex products in my current role as well, just like you would do so in banking. It's just that the nature of the complex products that I analyzed and structured was different. The universal takeaway here: draw parallels between your current role and the role that you're gunning for. And what isn't all that relevant need not be showcased, even if it might be very impressive. For example, you might have the best in-class ingredients to make the absolute best Chinese meal, but your client or your customer is looking for Italian. Then the ingredients that you have aren't of much use, are they? So what's relevant, you place on the front burner. What's not all that relevant, you place on the back burner. Jesus, so many cooking analogies in this video. I wonder what's cooking in here. After completing that exercise that entailed drawing parallels, I tweaked my resume to incorporate their language. Talking about deals, client coverage, returns, modeling, IRR. Terms that in the context of S&T may have a very different meaning compared to these terms in the context of banking. But it indicates to them that there are some parallels, albeit broad ones. In a nutshell, the nomenclature matters because it indicates to them that I speak their language. Robert Cialdini, in his seminal work, Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion, talks about this in the chapter on the liking principle, which means that all else being equal, the greater the similarity or parallels, the more someone will like you. Kinda obvious if you think about it, but then common sense isn't always common practice, is it? Also, I'll be doing a separate video breaking down the resume that got me into Goldman Sachs, but if you're looking for immediate assistance on resume storytelling, I do provide one-on-one guidance. You can check out the link to my top mate page in the description. I followed a similar strategy during my IB interviews as well, stressing on the similarities or the parallels while keeping the rest that may have been very impressive but irrelevant in the back pocket. When asked about why investment banking, I told them exactly the real reason that I'd mentioned at the start of this video as well. The fact that the nature of investment banking is such that it's a beautiful mix of the analytical as well as the advisory. I went on to say that my background as an engineer as well as my current role in S&T would cater very well to the analytical component. To show how and why, I explicitly mentioned those parallels between my current role and investment banking, the same ones that we talked about, doing deals, analyzing and structuring complex products. Having said that, I mentioned to them banking would utilize my talent and my skill set in a more optimal manner, because in addition to the analytical component, it also has a very strong advisory component that would leverage my people skills and my relationship building skills a lot more than my current role may have been leveraging. So let's recap everything that I've shown to them, either directly or indirectly. Number one, I've shown that I understand the nature of investment banking, what the nature of the work is, what the language is, what the work entails. Number two, that I have some relevant experience to be doing all of of that work. And number 3, which I think is very underrated, I've shown the fact that I understand myself, what my skills and my strengths are, and that in trying to look out for myself by wanting a move to a role or a division that I feel would leverage my skills and my strengths in a more optimal and comprehensive manner, I am at the end of the day serving Goldman Sachs a lot more effectively. So Goldman benefits, I benefit, making it the ultimate win-win situation. And what's best is that I've done all of this in a very graceful manner without shitting on my current role, which is a rookie mistake that a lot of people end up making. Because if you frame your move as I hate what I'm doing, it sounds like you're running away. Instead, you want to sound like you're running toward something that's a much better fit. Not just for you, but also for the firm. I remember framing it something like, my current role plays to my strengths, but I believe banking would bring out the best in me. It would leverage my skill set in a more optimal manner. And like I said, who benefits from that? The bank does. That's the key. You're not begging them. You're incentivizing them. You're not saying, please take me. You're saying, here's why it makes sense for you to take me. This is one of the core tenets of the art of influence. You appeal to people's self-interest, which is something that Robert Greene talks about in Law number 13 in his seminal work, The 48 Laws of Power. And the law reads, appeal to people's self-interest, never to their mercy. I implore all of you to read this chapter in that book. Now, of course, there were other components as well. Multiple grueling interviews, technical interviews, but I strongly believe that more than half the battle was won through my story and my motivations, which I'd like to think I answered in a clear and a compelling manner when answering the why investment banking and tell me about yourself questions. Archimedes once said, give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on which to place it, and I shall move the world. Anubhav Jain says, give me a story that's compelling enough and the skills to deliver it, and I shall move the world. That's what I've realized through whatever little experiences that I've had, and that's exactly what I want to help you with through my business. Whether it's helping you craft a resume or your college essays, or helping you with interview prep, or just helping you figure out how to make sense of your messy, unconventional journeys. I recently just finished working with a client who was gunning for something for which his background was very unconventional, to put it mildly. Now, did we try to hide it? Absolutely not. In fact, we made it the centerpiece of his story, and it worked wonders for him, just like it had worked wonders for me when I was trying to get into Goldman Sachs with my incredibly unconventional background. Engineering degree, coming from Georgia Tech, which was a non-target school, at least was back then, never having done a summer internship with Goldman Sachs. Yeah, I mean, the odds were heavily stacked against me. But instead of looking at these as demerits, I looked at these as attributes that can actually differentiate me from all the Toms, Dicks, and Harrys with business degrees from the Harvards, Yales, Columbias, Princetons, and Whartons. Because when done right, what seems like a weakness ends up becoming your differentiator. All it takes is the right framing, the right spin, which is simple but far from easy. So I hope all of this helped you, and I hope this answered ambitious Aisha's question. Aisha, if you're watching this, I noticed a couple of typos in your DM. I get it, it's Instagram. But keep in mind that people in banking are absolute sticklers when it comes to attention to detail. And typos give them more of an ick than my ex-girlfriend gives me. I'm kidding, no one beats her. If any of this resonated with you, I'd really appreciate some love, preferably in my love language, which on YouTube is a like and a subscribe. Ye Saida Guru. If you're prepping for interviews, finance or otherwise, or crafting your college essays or your resume, or a clever response to the person that you matched with on Bumble or Tinder, basically anything that entails the art of using the written and the spoken word to convince or influence others, then I'd love to be able to help you through the one-on-one coaching that I offer. It's an art that I worked very hard on honing over time through deliberate practice, and while it might come naturally to me right now, I understand that it doesn't come as naturally to others perhaps, and which is where I come in handy. I was initially providing the same services through email and DMs, but that was clearly not the most efficient way to go about doing so. So I decided enough is enough. Let me bite the bullet and set up my top mate page, which I now use to help you folks. For folks who need help breaking into investment banking, but don't necessarily want to go through the one-on-one route, you can check out my ebook, The Art of Breaking into Investment Banking, How I Landed My Dream Job at Goldman Sachs. And by popular demand, I'm doing an online workshop on communication skills on the 13th of July. And trust me, this workshop will teach you the real art of effective communication and conversation, and won't just be a rip-off that has more bark than bite or more style than substance. Lastly, what's the lesson that we can all extract from Aisha's DM? That ask and thou shall receive. So fire away in the comment section with your questions and your suggestions, keeping in mind what the focus of the channel is going forward. And if you don't have any questions or suggestions, then you can just show me some love, because as the Beatles said, love is all you need. Thank you so much for giving me such brilliant company. I'll catch you again in the next one. Cheers. Who's calling me? Ex-girlfriend calling? मैंने कुछ कह दिया क्या?